It's time to add a ignition switch to this Humvee. I like the original. I don't like the aftermarket solution with those Chinese junk switches that you drill the hole, replace the switch, get rid of this, and put the aftermarket Chinese junk. Don't like those. Tried them, had it for a month, and threw it away. Don't like it. So I have a different solution. I like the original look. I like the reliability of these switches. But I'm going to try a motorcycle ignition switch because they're somewhat weather tolerant. They're out in the sun, rain. So I'm going to be using an older style motorcycle that doesn't have the steering lock. It's a little simpler. These switches tend to be on the side of the bike, not on the steering column. So this is the Suzuki part number. It's like a 90s motorcycle. It comes with its little bracket. It's an original Suzuki. It's not a Chinese junk. You can buy these copy imitations. But it's pretty simple. It's just got a off, and the key comes in and out as it should. It's pretty high secure. It's got a lot of detail, a lot of indents to it, so it's got a lot of pins inside. Not like the ones you get on the Humvees. And you can feel it going in, pushing on the pins. So you shake it, it's pretty tight. When you turn it to the on position, it will not come out as it should. These aftermarket Chinese ones you get on the Humvee, the keys come out even if you're running or not. And then this has the lights on, but no run. So you could leave your motorcycle, I guess, parked with the lights on and you can walk away, which I don't need that. I'm just focusing on off and on. It comes with a bracket, so I need to just figure out these different, I don't need all of them, probably just 3, a ground, a power in, and a power out. And I'm guessing the brown is a ground, but I'll figure it out. I'll cut this off and then put the Humvee connections on here, and it'll be just a plug and play. So the goal is, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put it for now, but I may move this guy up here and then put the key ignition here, because I don't want to put the key up here and then have the keys dragging across. The keys dragging across here and just scratching up everything. I'd rather have it on the further down and just scratch down here. But anyway, so the goal is to put this somewhere and rivet it, modify it. I may unscrew this cap and remove this bracket and just make a hole and then put this on, and then put the cover on. So TBD. I have kind of like the idea of putting it to the side here, discreetly to the side, and paint it all green so it doesn't stand out. So I may do that. I need to tinker with this a little bit, but that's the thought for now. So I've made some progress on this Suzuki ignition switch. Made some minor modifications. These are somewhat waterproof because motorcycles are outdoors out in the rain, but I just improved on it a little bit. Siliconed it, let it dry, and just basically cut the wires that I don't need for park lights and stuff like that. So I basically got power in, power out. That's all I need. A male and a female. And then all I do is pull the power off this switch so it goes from the battery to this switch, and then it comes out and then goes in here. That way I can remove the key and lock it, and it's just going to go right there in that hole. I've got one of the rivet holes done. And you can't do 2 at the same time because it just doesn't work. You got to do one, line it up the way you want it, and rivet it, and then do the second one. So I've just did a little touch up here. I'm going to paint over the switch so it'll be all green, no letters or anything, and just kind of blends in to the original look. And the reason I've got it low is so that the keys are going to come in here and they're going to swing back and forth, and you know, they're going to scratch this, but that's part of the game. Okay, so I'm done with this ignition switch. It's a little shiny, you know, in a couple of days it'll dry out and kind of blend in with the rest. It looks a little darker, but it'll blend in. So this is a Suzuki key, an old 80s Suzuki. Trying not to scratch the paint, but it's in. You turn it, and then you would crank this over, and it would start. Pretty easy. I've got the battery disconnected, but that's on, and then you would go over to start. But battery's disconnected, so try not to touch the wet paint. There we go. So it kind of blends in. Hopefully in the dark, when someone's trying to steal it, they don't see the switch. And then this is just a manual override glow plug button. That should work. And this is a lot better than the Chinese junk that they usually sell. So I am going to insert my Suzuki kill switch to this master switch. So 11A is from the battery. It's always on, always sitting here. 29 is for the instruments, fan, you know, turn on the injection pump, all that stuff. Power to the body. And then S for start, it just cranks. So if you disconnect 29, it'll crank, but it doesn't have all the other stuff required for it to actually run. So inserting on 29 wouldn't really work because it'll just crank and nothing happens. So I'd rather just pull 11A. So 11A is battery power again, and I'm just going to insert my kill switch right in here, 11A. So I've got my power on. Battery power, 24 volts, it's on, so the car has 24 volts, and this just removes 24 volts. It does not remove the 12 volts to the alternator, 12 volts to the training computer, so these are always on. Don't really like that idea too much. I may add a second kill switch, you know, right in here, try and squeeze it in. That way I can switch complete power off to this vehicle, both 24 and 12. Right now it's just 24 and you can't start it, but there's still power to the transmission. Okay, so I pulled the master switch and I have it. Get this guy out of the way just so we can see a little better. Alright, so it's out of the way. So this is the ignition switch, and 11A is on top, and it's got these raised sections to it, both of them, so that is 11A. 11A. So it's got power always coming here. So I'm disconnecting this. Once you disconnect this, you can all day long, you know, try and start it, and there's just nothing here, right? So there's nothing here. Okay, power off. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so this is from my Suzuki kill switch, right there. So Suzuki kill switch, it's just got male and female. So I'm going to insert the 11 from battery right in here. It's gonna be a little tricky with one hand, even though it's all lubed up. Can't do it. Okay, we'll leave it. We'll fake it. We'll just put it like this. So then battery comes through the switch around my thumb here and then back out. And then this one goes to the switch. Let's try that. Okay. So I pulled this off the switch. I'm just repeating. This is 11A. Pulled it from here. So now power comes from the battery, comes through here, goes up into the switch, and then back down, and then it goes into that one, into the second one. So it just does a big loop. It just goes battery to the switch and then to the master switch. So right now it's off, and when I try and do this by hand, when I turn it to, okay, that's on. There's nothing there. There's no power. So when I have the fan on, so you'll hear the fan. So when I turn the ignition, Suzuki ignition on, we have fan. So obviously when you pull this key out of here, it just interrupts. 11A. That's all it's doing. Going through a big loop. Okay, so all this gets assembled, zip tied. I'm trying to avoid, it moving around and tearing itself apart and then being a problem. So when you start adding Chinese junk or aftermarket junk to a vehicle, military vehicle that has mil standard 810E, I think it is, Ravi. So all this equipment, all these connectors are being tested many different ways through the mil spec, and they're guaranteed to have a good mean time between failures, MTBF. So when you start adding motorcycle ignition switches or Chinese junk, you're just going to reduce your MTBF, and you're probably going to have, with rough terrain, bouncing around, braking, which is not a good thing. So I'm aware of that. So if I have issues, I will be able to access this, pull out 11A, pull out 11A from here, and then just insert it where it belongs and keep going. So to make this a little harder to get access to, I'm going to put that black plastic cover on. And a lot of people don't like those covers because they don't then get access to all this electrical. But for me, I just want to clean it out, close it off. So if you're trying to steal this, you can't just get in here and fiddle around. Make it a little harder to do. So this is my attempt in trying to get this to work. So another thing, when you install your switch, ideally you don't want the key straight up. You don't want your key straight up like this, because then as you're driving on the road, it's just doing this and just going to tear out the pins. So ideally you have it set at an angle off, set at an angle on, so that way it's kind of doing this, which is a little better than just moving like this against the pins. But either way, I know there's a weakness here by adding the switch. I did the best I could by going to a motorcycle switch, an original Suzuki switch, which has really good reliability, and this is the best I can do. There are aftermarket electronic boxes with their little remote that you can do this with remotes and electronics and all that stuff, and I guess that works. But if there's some kind of EMP, water moisture, battery goes bad on the remote, I'm not working and not gonna run. So I'm going with the mechanical, and I think this is going to be a little better, more reliable. I don't really care about what people think when you add these switches, you are wear and tear and an issue with the start boxes. So start boxes are junk anyways, and they all go bad. So I don't really care about the start box. I got an override glow plug heater, and we're good to go. Okay, so here it is all assembled. Run, nothing. Start, nothing. Turn the key on, and you'll hear the fans come on, and it will start. Good enough for me.